Most people don't realize how much of their life is spent chasing signs. They wake up and notice repeated numbers, 11, 11, 222, and instantly believe the universe is sending them a message. They stumble upon a feather and interpret it as divine confirmation. A song plays on the radio, and suddenly they're questioning if it holds a hidden meaning meant just for them. In many ways, they're not wrong, these are signs. But there's a paradox most never recognize. The more you obsess over finding signs, the more you're unknowingly affirming that your desires haven't arrived yet. You're still waiting for validation. And in quantum reality, waiting is the same as declaring, "It's not here yet." That subtle energy of needing proof can be enough to block you from fully stepping into the reality that's already available. Think about it. If you genuinely believed your new reality had arrived, would you still need reassurance? Would you keep scanning for external confirmations? Or would you simply embody the certainty that it's done? This is the hidden resistance that few acknowledge. In the world of manifestation, most people aren't creating, they're delaying. And that delay becomes their dominant frequency. The field responds not to your wishes, but to your state of being. So if your energy is one of waiting, the field will reflect more reasons to wait. That's quantum law. In quantum mechanics, before a particle becomes physical reality, it exists in a state of potential, a superposition of all outcomes. It's only when the observer chooses, when consciousness decides, that the wave collapses into form. But chasing signs isn't the same as choosing. It's hesitation disguised as faith. Looking for proof is often just reinforcing uncertainty. You're lingering in the doorway, flickering between timelines. And because the field mirrors clarity, not confusion, you attract more in-between, more half-finished manifestations, more almosts. Spiritually, this has been echoed for centuries. Neville Goddard taught, "Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled." He didn't say, "Look for signs it's coming." He understood that assumption is the creative act. To assume is to inhabit, to claim, without needing evidence, that what you desire is already yours. Signs can be beautiful reminders, but they were never meant to be your compass. They're echoes, not blueprints. Mistaking echoes for direction will keep you chasing endlessly. So why do we cling to signs in the first place? Because our minds have been conditioned to associate certainty with outside validation. From childhood, we waited for grades, feedback, approval, permission slips. We were trained to believe, if I've done it right, I'll see proof. So when we apply this same thinking to manifestation, we look for cosmic confirmation. If the universe heard me, it'll send a sign. But this belief holds you in a loop of lower frequency. The real shift happens when you no longer seek proof, because you are the proof. You stop waiting for signs and begin living from the frequency of already done. And in that energetic coherence, the field aligns not because you asked again, but because you finally stopped doubting. It's not that the signs are wrong. They're just echoes of your current state of being, not reliable forecasts of your destination. The more you rely on them, the deeper you embed yourself in a cycle of dependence. Let me share something that might feel backwards at first. Often, the clearest signal is the absence of signs. When the constant stream of external cues quiets down, it could mean you've already reached alignment. The quantum field doesn't need to send blinking indicators when you're already in harmony with what you've asked for. It simply starts flowing in rhythm with your energy. This is why, just before the most profound shifts, life can feel unusually still. Not because progress has stopped, but because it's unfolding beneath the surface. In dimensions beyond your physical awareness, the field has already responded to your decision. Your job isn't to chase evidence, it's to live in faith. So here's the question to sit with as we go further. Are you acting as someone who has already received, or someone still waiting for validation? Be radically honest with yourself. Because this moment right here is where most people unknowingly stall. If you're still scanning your surroundings for reassurance, you're stuck in seeker mode. But the instant you stop searching and start embodying, reality rearranges itself. That's when the shift occurs. That's when the field recognizes your clarity and coherence and mirrors it. Stay with me, because in this path, I'll show you why hunting for signs not only doesn't help, it's often the very thing delaying your manifestation. More importantly, I'll guide you into the energetic space where signs aren't needed, because you become the sign. That's the frequency where manifestation becomes immediate, where the reality you've been desiring starts to crystallize effortlessly. Here's the paradox. The act of looking for signs is what pushes your new timeline further out of reach. Think about how your body feels when you're in that mode. There's tension, there's that constant checking, that quiet pressure in your system. Your nervous system is bracing, on edge. It's not at peace, it's hunting for proof. And neuroscience backs this up. When your brain is in a state of anticipation, it activates survival circuits patterns of doubt, hypervigilance, and scarcity. Dr. Joe Dispenza refers to this as the difference between living from survival versus creation. When you're on alert, you're not manifesting from wholeness. You're broadcasting a frequency of, I don't have it yet. And the quantum field responds not to your desires, but to that subtle yet potent broadcast of lack. Quantum mechanics confirms this even more precisely. According to Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, your observation defines the state of reality. But if your observation is filled with anxious doubt, is it happening yet? Did the universe hear me? The wave collapses. Yes, but not in your favor. Instead, you keep tuning into versions of reality that echo your hesitation. It's like sitting between two radio stations. You only get static. You're not fully anchored in the old reality, but you're not grounded in the new either. You're suspended in interference. And the quantum field cannot amplify interference. It only reflects coherence. Spiritual teachers like Florence Scovel Shinn and Neville Goddard understood this truth long before quantum physics gave us the scientific vocabulary to explain it. Florence would often tell her students, "Faith knows the outcome is already received. It doesn't wait to see if it might arrive. True faith bypasses signs altogether because it flows from certainty, not wishful thinking." Neville took this even further, declaring that the only real way to manifest anything is to assume the wish is already fulfilled, to genuinely feel that your desired reality is already alive within you. This assumption doesn't depend on synchronicities like repeating numbers, feathers, or random messages from the outside world. It arises from within, and that's exactly why it's effective. But let's explore why people often get trapped in the loop. Signs give the ego comfort. They create the illusion that progress is happening outside of you. And that momentary comfort temporarily quiets your inner doubt. But what happens when the signs stop appearing? For most, fear returns. Thoughts creep in like, maybe the universe forgot me. Maybe it's not working anymore. And so the cycle begins again, searching for signs, feeling briefly soothed, losing signs, falling into uncertainty, then chasing more signs. Meanwhile, your manifestations remain stagnant, not because the universe is denying you, but because your frequency keeps fluctuating. The universe isn't testing you by withholding signs. It's simply reflecting your inner state. Signs are not roadmaps, they're mirrors. They don't direct your path. They reveal your position. So if you find yourself constantly asking for a sign, what you're actually seeking is proof evidence that you don't yet believe in your own creative power, and that need becomes your dominant frequency. I require validation. The quantum field, always precise, reflects that back to you. Picture this. You've placed an online order. Do you sit by the door all day, refreshing the tracking page, questioning whether it's really on its way? Of course not. You trust it's coming because the order is confirmed. The same applies in the quantum realm. The moment you feel the state of having the order is placed, but the more you obsessively check, the more you introduce resistance. That compulsive checking disrupts the energetic signal. Real manifestation is about confirming the desire with feeling and then living your life as if it's already yours. Here's the spiritual key hidden beneath it all. When you stop needing signs, you align with your higher self. The God state, as some call it, doesn't seek confirmation. It creates it. When you embody this level of certainty, signs may still show up, but they're no longer required. They become delightful synchronicities, not emotional crutches. That simple shift in awareness breaks the loop of waiting and anchors you in the version of reality where your desire already is. So ask yourself this honestly. Are you seeing the world through the lens of someone who knows or someone who still hopes? Because the quantum field isn't fooled by the words you say. It responds to the energy you carry. Hope vibrates with lack. Knowing vibrates with presence. And that's why waiting for signs is often the most subtle form of self-sabotage. It wears the mask of belief, but underneath, it's simply doubt in disguise. Stay with me, because up next, I'm going to walk you through the exact mechanism both in quantum theory and neuroscience that reveals why detachment, not waiting, is what actually collapses reality. Once you truly grasp this, you'll stop chasing signs for good and start being the frequency that makes manifestation natural and inevitable. In quantum mechanics, the principle of superposition tells us that a single particle can exist in multiple potential states simultaneously until it is observed. What this implies is powerful. Every version of your life, abundance, love, healing, freedom already exists right now in the quantum field as overlapping possibilities. But here's the catch. When you're constantly anticipating a sign, your observation causes the wave function to collapse into the state of waiting. The signal you're sending out isn't, "I already have it," but "I need confirmation." And the quantum responds accordingly with more waiting, more delays, more searching. This is the trap that keeps so many people feeling stuck. They're unknowingly collapsing timelines of lack and separation simply by how they're observing reality. From a neuroscience perspective, the same pattern plays out differently but with the same result. Your brain is essentially a forecasting machine, always projecting expectations into your future reality. When you obsessively look for signs, you're training your brain to repeat a loop of uncertainty. This activates specific areas like the prefrontal cortex and limbic system, placing the nervous system into a subtle state of vigilance. Joe Dispenza explains that in this state, the body becomes chemically dependent on the hormones of anticipation and stress, even if those emotions feel uncomfortable. Rather than opening up to new outcomes, you end up rehearsing your old identity over and over again. You're not manifesting something new. You're neurologically reinforcing the past, but when you choose detachment, something transformative takes place. Detachment doesn't mean apathy or lack of care. It means releasing your nervous system from being stuck in hyper-awareness. You stop scanning your surroundings for evidence. You rest your awareness in now. Biologically, this shift activates the parasympathetic nervous system, initiating the relaxation response. Your heart rhythms begin to regulate. Your brainwaves drift into calming alpha and creative theta states. Your entire system moves into flow. From this place of harmony, your energetic field becomes magnetic. In physics, coherence amplifies power. When particles vibrate in alignment, they create resonance. And when your body and mind align in that same resonance, the field reflects that back in the form of reality. Let's tie this to the work of researchers like Dean Radin at the Institute of Noetic Sciences. His studies on consciousness and intention consistently show that human focus has measurable effects on physical systems, but only when the intention is steady, coherent, and not attached to outcome. Put simply, the less you grip, the more powerful your influence becomes. The quantum field responds to coherence, not desperation. This is exactly why spiritual traditions have always taught the power of surrender. In Taoism, it's known as wu-wei, effortless alignment. In Christian teachings, it's the kind of faith that trusts the unseen. In Buddhism, it's non-attachment. Across all lineages, the truth is the same. Creation doesn't arise from force. It arises from letting go. Neville Goddard expressed it perfectly when he said, "Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled." 1. He didn't say to hope for it or to keep checking for signs every day. He said assume, and in many ways, that's just another word for detachment. To assume is to allow it to be, to move through life as though it's already done without resistance or grasping. Now let's bring this down to something personal. Think of a time when something finally fell into place for you. Maybe you were looking for the right relationship, the perfect opportunity, or even recovery from something painful. You might notice that it didn't happen when you were gripping the tightest, but rather, in the moment you stopped pushing. You loosened your hold. You shifted your focus. You let yourself move with ease. And then it arrived. That wasn't chance. That was coherence. Your field aligned because you stopped disrupting it. You stopped creating static by obsessively watching for signs. And instead, your presence sent out a stable, clear signal. The quantum field doesn't respond to effort. It responds to resonance. And resonance is impossible when you're constantly anticipating. It's like planting a seed and then digging it up every day to see if it's growing. That act of checking breaks the process. A seed thrives when it's left in peace, nourished by trust and time. Your intentions work the same way. Plant them, nurture them with belief, then stop interrupting their growth. Here's the paradox where science and spirituality merge. Manifestation feels slow when you're waiting, but it becomes rapid the moment you stop expecting it to happen. Why? Because time behaves differently in the quantum realm. Studies on retrocausality have shown that outcomes can influence what we perceive as cause, meaning your future can collapse into reality before the conscious decision is even made. In simpler terms, your manifestation isn't waiting on a linear timeline. It's waiting for your state of being to align, and that state only stabilizes when you stop looking for confirmation. So next time your mind asks, "Where's my sign?" Pause. Recognize that voice for what it is. A familiar neurological loop, not divine communication. Smile. Take a breath. Let it go. Because the very moment you release the interference, your quantum shift begins to accelerate. That's not just theory, it's real. And it becomes your experience if you're brave enough to stop needing proof. Now stay with me because we're about to move from insight to action. In the next part, I'll guide you through a grounded, 3-step practice that will help you step into this frequency of detachment. You'll learn how to stop reaching for signs and instead start embodying the timeline that's already yours. Knowing this concept is powerful, but transformation happens when you live it. So now, let's translate that knowing into motion. The key is shifting from anticipation into embodiment, from watching and waiting to simply being, and that begins with retraining your nervous system to stop seeking reassurance and start radiating certainty. Step 1. Reprogram your I am identity. Each day, become conscious of the words that follow I am in your inner dialogue. Most people unintentionally reinforce the energy of waiting by saying things like, I am still waiting for love. I am hoping for more abundance. Or, I'm trying to heal. These aren't casual phrases. They are energetic commands. Instructions to the quantum field. Modern neuroscience shows that repeated phrases shape your neural wiring. When you repeat these identity statements, your brain encodes them, and your body begins to chemically feel what you're declaring. And because your body doesn't distinguish between imagination and actual experience, your energy field starts broadcasting the very lack you're speaking about. To shift this, choose your words deliberately. Instead of saying, I am waiting, try, I am aligned, I am worthy, or I am whole. Your mind may push back at first, but with consistency, your nervous system begins to recalibrate. This subtle shift in language transforms your signal from one of lack to one of coherence, and coherence makes signs irrelevant because you become the source of the signal. Step 2. Regulate your nervous system into safety. Here's where science and spirituality meet. As Dr. Joe Dispenza explains, your body is the vessel through which consciousness expresses itself. If your nervous system is stuck in a loop of hyper-awareness, your tendency to search for signs is just a symptom of survival mode. You can disrupt this pattern by activating your parasympathetic nervous system, the state associated with rest, healing, and creative flow. Here's a simple practice. Sit in stillness. Close your eyes and begin breathing in a calm rhythm. Inhale for 4 counts. Exhale for 6 while breathing. Gently bring your attention to your heart space and imagine light radiating outward from it. This type of coherent breathing creates physiological harmony between the brain and the heart. According to research from the HeartMath Institute, this coherence boosts intuitive access and strengthens your ability to influence physical reality. You're no longer waiting. You're attuning to a version of reality that's already in motion. Step 3. Let go of the timeline. This may be the most challenging step for the analytical mind, but it's the most natural for your soul. The quantum field doesn't respond to your schedule. It doesn't operate by the rules of linear time. It responds to energetic readiness, not urgency. Reflect for a moment. Have you ever received something amazing completely unexpectedly? That didn't come from constant effort. It came because your vibration lined up with it without pressure, without force. Here's how to practice. Once your intention is set, resist the urge to check in on timing. Every time the thought arises, how long will this take? Redirect it. Say internally, it's already unfolding. Let your body relax into that truth. Releasing the timeline is not surrendering your desire, it's communicating to the field that you trust. It's already in motion, and that trust collapses timelines faster than control ever will. These 3 practices may seem simple on the surface, but they are incredibly precise at the quantum level. Your language, your nervous system, and your relationship with time form the foundation of your energetic signature. Together, they are the triad that moves you from chasing to receiving. Consider them your manifestation trifecta: mindset, embodiment, and surrender to timing. When practiced in harmony, they produce coherence, and coherence is the only thing the quantum field responds to. And remember, this process isn't about constant effort or mechanical repetition. It's about becoming the vibration of what you seek. and letting that signal speak louder than words. You don't need to repeat it 100 times a day. In fact, over-practicing often reveals hidden doubt. Instead of forcing, treat this like a daily energetic reset. Just a few minutes of aligned words, intentional breathing, and surrendering time is far more powerful than hours of strained visualizations. Because in the quantum world, frequency quality always trumps effort quantity. Now here's what most people overlook. When you stop seeking signs, life itself transforms into the sign. The synchronicities you once tried to manifest begin showing up everywhere, not as proof to convince you, but as natural reflections of what you already know deep within. You'll find yourself in the right place, at the right time, encountering the right people, and receiving unexpected invitations and breakthroughs. That's not coincidence. That's your field realigning around your internal coherence. So take a moment now and anchor this truth. Type these exact words in the comments. I allow it to be easy. This isn't just a phrase, it's an energetic declaration. It tells the quantum field that you've dropped the struggle, the need to wait, the craving for proof, that you're ready to step into the timeline that was already yours from the beginning. When you write it, breathe it in. Feel it resonate through your system. That vibration, that knowing is your signal of alignment. And stay with me, because next we're going to zoom out and unlock the deeper mystery. The timeline you've been pursuing, it's already selected, and your only task is to attune to it. What you're about to discover could completely shift how you perceive manifestation. Here's a truth most people miss, but once you understand it, everything changes. The version of reality you're chasing has already been selected. Your desire, your dream, your vision, it wasn't randomly imagined. You didn't invent it. In quantum terms, it's a probability that already exists within the field of infinite potential outcomes. That internal pull you feel, what you call desire, is actually a signal. It's your consciousness resonating with a timeline that's already alive in the field. Which means this: you're not trying to create something from nothing. You're simply remembering a version of reality that already exists, encoded in the field. And this is precisely why constantly waiting for signs is exhausting, because it keeps reinforcing the illusion that your desired reality is still far away, still uncertain. But from the lens of quantum physics, that potential has already collapsed into form. It's not the reality that's missing, it's your fragmented attention that hasn't aligned yet. The separation between wanting and being is what makes manifestation feel difficult. When you collapse that separation, the experience arrives effortlessly, not through magic, but through coherence. Now, let's bring this into neuroscience. Your brain is a powerful prediction system. In every moment, it filters your perception based on the internal model of what it already assumes is real. If your subconscious mind is still programmed to believe, I don't have it, I'm still waiting, then even when the opportunities show up, your brain will literally filter them out. It will ignore or dismiss anything that contradicts that internal belief. But when you embody coherence, when you boldly declare, "It's already mine," and begin to live from that truth, your brain adapts, it restructures. It begins scanning for evidence that matches the new identity, and suddenly, reality shifts. Suddenly, your awareness begins to illuminate paths and possibilities that were always there but previously unseen. It's not that something new appeared. It's that you finally attuned to the version of reality where what you wanted had already arrived. Think of it like adjusting a radio dial. Every station is transmitting at once, but you only hear the one you're tuned into. The quantum field works in exactly the same way. Your higher self is already broadcasting from the frequency where your vision is complete. Each time you spiral into doubt or overthink, you're simply tuning into interference, into noise. But every moment you choose trust, ease, and clarity, you lock into the frequency where the signal is crystal clear. That's why surrender feels so profound, because in surrender, you stop distorting the transmission. You stop jamming your own channel. Let's see it from another angle. Your dream isn't chasing you, and you're not chasing it either. You are orbiting each other. Like entangled particles connected beyond time and space. Quantum entanglement shows us that once two particles interact, they remain bonded no matter the distance. In the same way, your dream and your present identity are already linked. The only reason they seem disconnected is because of the resistance in your perception. The moment you stop identifying with the frequency of lack, the entanglement draws you into the version of reality where your desire has always existed. And this leads to one of the most liberating truths. You don't need to figure out how to get there. The how is not your job. It belongs to the field. Your only role is coherence to bring your thoughts, feelings, and physical state into energetic alignment. Once that alignment is steady, the field reorganizes around you. Life reshapes itself. People arrive, opportunities surface, doors you didn't know existed suddenly open. The more you interfere, the longer it takes, but the more you let it be simple, the faster it unfolds. Take a moment and reflect. How many times has something meaningful come into your life in a way you couldn't have planned? The friend you just happened to meet, who connected you to something life-changing. The timing that felt too perfect to be coincidence. That wasn't luck. That was the field realigning around your signal. When you look back, you'll see the timeline was already in motion. You were simply arriving into it. And that's why you must let go of the belief that ease means it's not real. Simplicity isn't a trap. It's the entry point. The mind craves complexity because it associates effort with control. But the field doesn't mirror control. It mirrors resonance. When you finally accept that ease is intelligence, not weakness, you align with the vibration of your higher self. And from there, you no longer chase, you no longer force, you don't even have to hope, you simply become. So here's your reminder for the rest of today. Live as though the timeline is already selected, not that it's coming, not that you're still waiting, not maybe someday. Chosen, done, grounded, settled, move, speak, and breathe from that space. When you do, something powerful begins to rise within, a quiet, steady confidence. That feeling? It's not ego, it's coherence. And coherence is the most magnetic frequency in existence. Stay with me, because in this final part, we're not just talking about ideas, we're going to activate this awareness inside you. You'll learn how to lock this energetic state into your nervous system, so that it becomes your new baseline. This isn't just inspiration, it's embodiment. And I have a resource to help you go even deeper into this work. You didn't arrive here by accident. If you're still reading, it's because a part of you already recognizes this truth. The reality you desire isn't some far-off possibility. It's here, already encoded into the quantum field, waiting for your coherence to unlock it. Every time you've questioned it, every time you've said, "This feels too easy to be true," you were simply caught in the illusion of separation. What you call desire is not a fantasy that may happen one day. It's a memory of a reality that already exists, calling you into alignment with it. Quantum manifestation isn't about willpower, hustle, or intensity. The field does not bend to pressure. It responds to vibrational precision, and your thoughts, your emotions, your body, they are all transmitters of that frequency. When they're scattered, the signal is weak, but when they unify, when they harmonize into coherence, the field can only do one thing: mirror it back. That's why we don't chase reality. We collapse into it, Picture this. A mirror doesn't reflect what you want, it reflects what you are. The quantum field works the same way. Every I am you speak. Every silent expectation. Every emotion, these are signals. And the field reflects them without bias. That's why surrender feels so powerful. When you stop sending mixed signals, the field stops sending back chaos. When you transmit harmony, the field responds with alignment. It really is that simple and that profound. So let this be your declaration. You are no longer waiting. You are no longer trying. You are no longer stuck in the vibration of someday. You are aligning. You are collapsing timelines. You are embodying the version of you that already exists. And with every breath, you're drawing that version of reality so close that it becomes indistinguishable from the now. That's the true miracle of quantum manifestation, not creating something new, but remembering who you've always been. If this message resonated, if something inside you just clicked, then I've created something to take you deeper. I've written a guide called Awaken Your Quantum Power, a hands-on ebook to help you fully stabilize this frequency, embody coherence, and retrain your nervous system to hold the vibration of your chosen reality. This isn't about effort, it's about energetic accuracy. And this guide shows you how to fine-tune your signal. You can find the link in the pinned comment below. Let this be your next step, not forward, but inward. See this as your next step, a map leading you into the version of reality you already tapped into today. Because now, it's no longer about knowing intellectually, it's about embodying that truth on every level. And as we come to a close, I want you to remember this. The universe was never testing you. It wasn't punishing you. It was never holding anything back. It has always been ready. The only thing it waited for was you. To recognize that the door has been open the whole time. You are no longer a seeker. You are the signal. You are the mirror. You are the frequency that bends timelines into form. So carry this with you. Let it settle into your being. The quantum field isn't somewhere far away. It's responding to you right now. In this breath, in this heartbeat, live from the inner certainty that it's already done. And watch your life realign around that vibration. Until next time, stay in coherence, stay in light, and above all, remember this. You were never meant to fight for what's already yours. You were only meant to remember who you truly are.